I'm back on another video. We're gonna be eating. We eating and we're gonna be watching scary animation stuff. Let's get it.
This encounter happened to me while attending college at Auburn University in Alabama. It was the hectic part of the fall school semester when students are busy preparing for final exams. I was no exception to the rule. One of the nice things about Auburn University, which is not uncommon to many other colleges, is that the library remains open 24 hours a day during final exams. As you can imagine, such an open invitation draws in a large crowd. Students occupy all the available space on several floors with books and ideas. On this particular night, at least one of them was not a student. Let me explain. I arrived at the library early in the afternoon, navigated my way to the third floor, and quickly located a desk for intense concentration. Hours passed as I put my attention on the pages of my organic chemistry textbook. It became dark outside. I was extremely happy with my progress. I celebrated with a sandwich, chips, and a few beers. At just past 11 o'clock, nature called. I entered the bathroom and made my way to the stall furthest from the entrance. A few minutes passed, and then another person entered. Here is where things turned creepy. We are two, and we are alone. For what seemed like an eternity, I only heard silence. No toilet flushing, no feet shuffling, no hand washing, absolutely nothing. Then, he locked the door. At this point, my mind was racing. Was I about to be robbed? Random act of violence? A joke? I tried to stay calm as he walked over to the stall that I occupied. Eventually, he broke the silence with an offer I will never forget. He offered me a Happy Meal. I kindly but firmly rejected, and thankfully, he exited the bathroom. I quickly finished my business, washed my hands, and left in a hurry. The exchange had me absolutely spooked. Study time was over. On my way out of the eyes locked briefly, and then I turned away. I could feel his stare. All that I remember about him is that he was a middle-aged man wearing makeup and a McDonald's uniform. I haven't eaten McDonald's since.
Tickets for my favorite group were going on sale. Getting tickets for them is hell, and having a good laptop and Wi-Fi was key to up your chances on snatching a good seat. My university's Wi-Fi was complete ass, so I decided I would go around to various fast food places and test their Wi-Fi to see which one was the best. This wasn't too hard to do, since my university was walking distance from an abundance of various restaurants and fast food places, plus more food places that were a few minutes away by car or bus. One of the places I decided to test was McDonald's, which was only a 5-minute drive away from my university. I had my boyfriend take me, and we went inside and set up my laptop, iPad, and iPhone. We ordered something to snack on as well, because you can't pass up the opportunity of McDonald's fries if you are in McDonald's. In front of our table was a group of old guys who looked around the age where death would be knocking on their door soon. Me and my boyfriend were busy checking the Wi-Fi speed and conversing and giggling, when one of the old guys stood up and decided to jokingly make a comment along the lines about how we should be doing our homework on a weekend, and how teenagers were always working or on their phones. I don't exactly remember the wording he used, but it was along those lines. We both just awkwardly chuckled, and then we went back to what we were doing and tried to look busy. Apparently, old people don't care if you are busy or whatever, because he kept making jokes and speaking to us and telling us to stop working, etc. Notably, the majority of his remarks and conversation were directed towards just me, and not to my boyfriend. was already kind of nervous because people randomly talking to me makes me a little antsy, especially ones who keep rambling after I make it clear I don't want to talk anymore. But him being an older man added to my nervousness even more due to how creepy and predatory they can sometimes be. He started asking questions that were more personal, like where did I go to school, how old I was, and whatnot. I was getting uncomfortable at this point, but answered his questions and told him the college I attended and how old I was. Looking back now, I don't think me telling him the truth about it was that harmful. He probably forgot them as soon as I told him. He also started complimenting me, then saying how pretty I was. All the while he was doing this, the other old men were either laughing or telling him to leave the poor girl alone. He started to make comments on me and my boyfriend's relationship as well, saying how cute we looked. It was nice to see young couples and how long we'd been with each other, etc. After we answered, he laughed and said, "Well, if you ever get tired of him and want to look for someone else, I'm always available. You can kill me and get some money." I was 100% uncomfortable at this point and just laughed along nervously while scooching closer to my boyfriend.
Get close.
I don't think he was serious though, and was just trying to joke around with us to seem likable or cool. But him even suggesting that was creepy and uncalled for. He finally left us alone after all the chuckles to himself and went back to talking amongst the old men. After a few minutes, I asked my boyfriend if he could grab us some things from the car because I wasn't feeling too good due to reasons. As soon as he left, the old guy and his friends got up too, and I hoped they would just walk out and pass by my table without saying a word. But apparently I have bad luck, so instead some of the old men talking to me stopped right and stood by me. He saw my university ID card and picked it up, making remarks of how good I looked in the picture and how I looked even prettier in person, and just kept looking me up and down. His friends chuckled and told him to leave the poor girl alone again, and I hope he would clean the wax out of his ears and listen to leave me alone. He just laughed and placed his hand on my shoulder, giving it a light squeeze while exclaiming, "No, I won't leave her alone. She's too cute." At this point, I was way past uncomfortable. I knew nothing deadly was going to happen to me because we were in a public place, even if the McDonald's was empty. So I knew they weren't going to kidnap me or anything, but I was still severely creeped